how it all works. How it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. We started just slightly earlier than we normally do. Trying to give people a little time, an opportunity to get set, get ready, get in place, because man, we're going to be off to the races today. Woo. Yeah. If the pre-show was any indication of what we're in for, folks, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be one that you want to take a moment right now and share the stream. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share that link, share the link, or share the actual stream itself. If you want to start a watch party, so let's have a watch party, right? But if you're on YouTube, go ahead and share that link with some friends. I know I have been sharing the link with a couple of my guys, those that were on the last audio engineer show, which was phenomenal. We had a great panel, great discussion. So really excited to dive into this one in round two. We got two guys and they are going to blow your minds. I listen, from the perspective of a novice, somebody who's not in this field, man, what they're sharing so far has just been right. But this is what the whole thing is about, right? How it all works. We dive in a little bit. We get to know a little more than just, turning some knobs and pushing some levers on the soundboard. These folks, this is their craft. This is their gifting. This is their vocation. This is their discipline. And they approach it with a different level of reverence and expertise. And I'm so excited to actually dive into that. But man, yeah, I wanted to quickly show a couple of different things here. So the month of November has kind of blown by. And here is the flyer that we had for the month of November. And we went over the voiceover world. Wow, what an episode. If you missed that one, you're going to want to go back and watch that. This is binge-worthy content, folks. Just go ahead and grab the playlist, click play, and just keep it going in the background. That helps us too. But yeah, the writing process, Gail Jones Murphy, Damian Chandler, Crystal Carr. The first, the voiceover world, we had, we had Henry McKechnie, my good friend. We had Alvin Chia from Take Six, and we had Micah Logan. That was phenomenal. Then, of course, Music Workflow last week with Roby Burton and John Stoddard. I'm laughing because it was like, they said this to me in the after show, like Philly part 1, and then this show is Philly part 2. I don't know how that worked out. I tell you, it was not my plan, but I'm glad we're able to hear from these beasts in the field. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. This is our show for today. And yes, Shannon Austin and Shelton Morgan are waiting in the wings to chat with you. I just want to see real quick what's going on in the chat. I got Evan Morcell is here saying, let's go. All right. Thank you, Evan. Evan is coming up. We're gonna have Evan on the show next week. I think that's right, Evan. Next week you're gonna be on, and we're gonna be talking about cinematography versus videography. I'm gonna do something on that in the middle of the show when we have some more people watching. I want to make sure that we get that message out there. We're putting the audio production month of November, although next week is still technically November, but we're segueing into video production, and I'm excited about that, hoping that you guys will continue to take this journey with us. I'm still looking in the chat, man. I'm kind of surprised. I don't know. Maybe it's the new platform. Anything is possible, right? In terms of how these comments are getting to me, because I only see one right now, and I see several people who are watching on multiple different platforms. It gives me the numbers for all of them, which is really pretty cool. But yeah. Okay. So Kanik says we here. All right. They here. So the comments are coming in. So, but yeah, no, we're not gonna belabor it. I just wanted to get in here early today because I wanted to, get this thing out there in front of all of you guys. Again, give you guys a chance to share this stream. Man, what an in here. All right, David Hunt, Evan Morcell, everybody saying, yo, we here. Hold up. Don't throw us out yet. We're here. All right, good. And I see people are over on YouTube. Hey, YouTube, that's where the description is. It's where all the links are going to be, where you can find these folks, how you can follow them. All of that's on YouTube. 1.21K subs. Let's go. Man, we're gonna get there. Evan, thank you so much. But yeah, I am just excited about how far we've come and the journey that we're on. And I'm so glad that you are taking this journey with us. I would encourage you, if you have a child, a young man, young lady in your household who is technically inclined, who, likes to work with the sound team at church, this is an episode where you're going to want to have them here, even if they have to catch the replay if they're busy right now. This is an episode where information is going to be shared. These two guys are going to talk from their experience. They're going to share not only, how they prepare for production, but also how did they get involved? How did they get started? And they're going to share from a personal space as well. So I really hope that if you have that person in your household or in your family or in your life, you can share this with them, and that this could be one of those tipping points where they can kind of, again, peel back the veil a little bit and see how it all works. Without any further ado, our first guest is Shannon Austin. And so we're going to get this intro song played, and we're gonna bring Shannon on, and we're gonna dive right in. This is gonna be fun. All right, so I'll see you on the other side. Yes, indeed.
Touchdown.
the man said touchdown. Look, we just started. He said touchdown. He's doing his dance already.
Touchdown.
Big bro.
What
Shannon,
up, baby?
What's good, man?
What it do, baby?
Man, we out here, man.
Kirk, you killing it, man. You killing it. You be having me up on Friday nights. I ain't supposed to be up until 1 o'clock in the morning, man. 2 in the morning.
Say they so, man. Say they so. Nah, man.
I'm talking about the cafe, man. I'm just like, oh, jeez, Kirk.
Man, the cafe, man.
You be having me out there, bro.
Man, the cafe is snacks, crazy.
My ginger ale. I'm supposed to have my butt in bed, but
somebody told me the other week, man, they be scrolling on their phone in bed with the, turn the light on the phone all the way down so the spouse can't see it. I said, oh my goodness.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Shannon, man. Oh,
what do you do, family?
So last time we were on the digital stage together, we were at Pierre's thing, right?
We were at Pierre's thing, a whole nother situation.
Yeah, like a whole different, almost lifetime ago. It's like at the beginning of the pandemic. It was supposed to be supposed to be a live conference in Nashville, and then we ended up making it virtual. But we all spoke together. That thing was fire, man.
That was absolute fire. And that's where I came into your brilliance, brother.
I said I can say the same.
All this you see behind me is a result of. I'm like, I am learning from this man.
Listen, you know what is awesome and hilarious and small world-ish all at the same time. This man, I'm speaking to you guys now, audience. This guy that's on the screen with me, this man has run some of the largest events that I have been involved with, and I did not know. I used to work with the team at Oakwood, and we did the UNCF banquet year after year. This guy was the guy. He was the one.
Were you there?
I was there, right?
Were you on them teams?
I was the media team. The media team. That's me. That was my team. Wow. That whole crew.
Remember the Layla show?
Oh man. The Layla show.
The Layla show was.
Oof. Yeah.
That was just.
Nah, it was not even fair.
Yeah,
that was not even fair.
No,
and your boy was the Layla show. Where did she bring up the violinist? Is that the one, or was it a different one?
No, Paul. I think the violinist. I forget when he performed.
I don't remember which one, but I know that it doesn't matter which one. What's your boy on the bass guitar? How am I forgetting this guy?
Kelvin Wooten.
Wooten played for both, and
right.
he man, that's a bad man right there.
That's a whole nother conversation. You could do a 90-day series on Kevin Wooten.
yes, that guy. My goodness. But man, listen, just right at the outset here, take a few minutes, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, man. I know the greatness, right? But some of the listen, I'm looking in the comments right now. Somebody said, I'm here for Shannon and Shelton. Let's go. So I'm like, hey, I'm good with it, man. I'm just happy that you guys are going to bring your expertise to the audience here at How It All Works. But yeah, give the guys a little taste, give the folks a little taste of what, your perspective has been in terms of this whole audio engineering thing.
Yeah, well, man, I
love the sweater, by the way.
Speaking of which, the hoodie was given to me by a group of fans, 2 fans. Wow. Because I was working with an amazing up and coming, well, they ain't up and coming now, they're killing the game right now, boy band called Why Don't We? And I was their first engineer. Wow. And so I did a lot of stuff, and I would post in social media. They had their whole fan base was called the Limelights. The Limelights knew who Shannon was.
Good night. Look at that.
And one show, we were on tour, and we were going through Boston. And these 2 young ladies came up to me. Normally they bring gifts for the boys, for the guys, for the group. Right. They came up to me. They made a card. They had my wife and my children on this card.
Wow.
They had gone to social media and gotten whatever. And then it was one other thing. And then they got me this hoodie. Oh, man. Because I would always hashtag life of a tour life and life of a sound engineer.
Nice.
And they brought this. They were like, "This is for you, Shannon, and we love you, Shannon." Wow. And I took pictures with them, and
that's amazing.
It was amazing. So
that is amazing. I really appreciate that. I know you have more to say, but I just want to put a pin right here to the audience to say, man, that is so powerful to recognize, because the sound engineer is often not recognized, right? I mean, it's often only when things go terribly wrong that we're like, who's the engineer, right? Man, that is so good.
And here's one here. So here is a tip, or tip 1, right? We can
tip
hashtag 1. The tip, right?
Here we go.
Right, is take care of your clients.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Because when I got hired for them, see, we were doing promo. They had not, they had been signed to Atlantic Records. Mm-hmm. They had been building this groundswell of social media and Instagram and Snapchat and all these different things. And so I went out just very focused on, they all could be my sons.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. I was very focused on the fact that I was not there just for audio engineering, although I was just there for audio engineering.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, so yes. When you're on assignment, sir. When you're on assignment.
Right. I was on assignment. So I knew I needed to take care of them. Right. I needed to look out for them. And so their parent, the first night that I worked, the first gig I did with them was a song release at their manager's house.
Oh, wow.
And in the Hollywood Hills. And everybody was, a whole bunch of industry folks were there, and we did something in the backyard. Nice. I had a little console set up inside the house, and everything was, it was a long, hot day. But parents were there. Man. Because these guys were like 15 to 19 at the time.
At the time, right.
So there were parents there. Man. And they were like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Taking care of our boys
like this, right?
Right. And so that just started that. So oftentimes there would be a tweet, a post, a social media post about Shannon. I was in it, or a picture, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the fans began to know me, and they would shout me out at concerts. Hey, Shannon, can we take a picture with you? And,
oh my goodness.
We loved it. Look, we love that you take care of the boys so well.
Nice.
Right. So we went to Europe. We did promo over there. So their manager saw the need for consistent audio, even going to do promo.
Oh man, that's good.
So we went to Atlantic in London, and we went all around different places in England doing promo. And then all of the execs from Atlantic came to a showcase, and they needed audio. So who better to mix the audio than the guy who mixes their audio?
Right.
And so they flew me to the London.
That's good.
And yeah, I took care of whatever need that presented itself audio-wise. We went, and then we went to Germany. Where else did we go? We went to a couple other places for just promo. Man, that's promo. And we did go to Amsterdam. We went to a couple of different places we did go to France.
Wow.
Because that's the only picture I have of me. I have the Eiffel Tower behind me.
Behind you. Yeah.
I had been to France a couple of times, but
just never took a picture.
Never took a picture. And so here I am, and and so I could say that experience helped solidify for me that, if I never tour again, if I'm in a forum like this, right, or if I'm giving advice, like your client services is so being technically proficient,
right,
and tactically proficient is very, very important.
Please
but
say that.
Also having a customer service spirit will take you a very, very long way.
Oh, wow, man. Listen, folks, we're off to the races. I mean, this is supposed to be intro. He's not even answering a question. He's already giving out gold. This is solid gold right here.
Right,
and here's what I want to say. This is not just applicable to the sound engineer.
No.
What he's sharing is how you go about life. If the client services, if your bedside manner, if you will, is rough, that might be an area where you can kind of tweak things and change some things, because you just never can tell what that impact is going to have later on down the line. Man, Shannon, I have some questions, man, I want people to kind of conceptualize from your perspective, what are some of the things you do in preparation for a production? Like, what is that? I don't want to say checklist, but more, yes, technical, but also some of the mental space that you get into in terms of preparing for, a large scale production, or even something like you said is intimate in the backyard of a producer's home or something like that. Talk to us a little bit about what that preparation process is like.
Well, the most important, like, this is where the rubber meets the road in the beginning. And if you, and I see several production professionals that know Shelton and I, in the comments and in the chat, it's like they will agree with me that one of the most important things as it relates to a live production is the advance, right? That is when you wrap your mind around the gig. Once you understand conceptually what's going on, what the client is trying to execute, now you have to advance that.
Wow.
And that is probably one of the weakest links. It is like for the chef, it is prep before you cook. Right. So you write out, right? You write out okay, we're doing, turkey. We're having dressing.
This week, everybody.
Potatoes, right?
Oh yeah.
We're having some greens.
And you're seeing it. You're seeing it. They're appearing on the table as you're writing it. Yeah.
Look, that's the menu. But now you got to shop for that menu.
Wow.
You just can't throw the menu up and say, oh, okay, well, we expect food to show up. No, you actually have to shop for that. And so you're looking at best prices. You're looking at who has the greens you like to use.
Oh, there it is.
Who doesn't.
There it is.
You're asking all of these questions of yourself. If you have a staff, If you're talking to management, you're talking to the pastoral leadership, or the media director, or whatever. You're having these kinds of pre-conversations, And from an audio perspective, you're really trying to get an understanding for what is going to happen in that room.
Wow.
And then you want to put in place the things that are necessary to accomplish that at the highest level, and to be able to be what we call a transparent. Transparent meaning, if I have a pair of speakers that are transparent, I'm not introducing color to the sound.
Yes.
I just want to hear what's there.
There you go.
Whatever's supposed to be there, I want to hear that. So a good production professional actually becomes transparent. You should know that they're there. All you should walk away is with a good experience. Right?
That's good.
And so I learned early. I started, man. Listen, let me go back. Let me rewind a little bit.
Go ahead.
I was when I was in the military years ago. I always liked tinkering with stereos. Even before I went to go into the military, the little stereo that my sister bought, I would take it apart, put it back together, rewire it, all these different things. Then I was a DJ as well. I got got hit by a car, got a little money, begged my mother, can I get DJ gear? Can I get DJ gear? She finally let me. And so it started there.
There
right?
It is.
And then I go in the military. I'm not DJing anymore, but I'm getting just different pieces of hi-fi equipment.
There
right.
You go. Okay.
And then I came to a little school in the South called Oakwood University. Right.
Okay. All right.
And I sat in a forum, a Friday night forum where the theology majors come together and do a service.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm sitting in that service, and the student body is in the service, and I'm listening to the student body sing. And I was like, what the mess is going on? Like, where are all these voices? Of course, Take Six and A Special Blend. And Mervyn Warren and Brian McKnight and all these people, Virtue, like all of these names just flowing out of Oakwood University. But there was no recording studio that was Black owned. And I was like, man, somebody should have a recording studio around here. And so I had this big idea in my head to get a recording studio and build it up and do all of these things. And my former pastor, Dr. James Doggett, he was starting a little young upstart church called Madison Mission. Right. And he said that changed the whole game as far as music and praise and worship within the Seventh-day Adventist construct, right? So he was like, man, we doing this thing. Why don't you join us in this effort? And I was like, well, they probably got the resources before I will. So I joined and became a part of the studio committee.
Nice.
Well, the studio committee is what brought about the recording. What was the name of that thing?
Man, I literally just played some of that project.
I just had such a brain fart.
Week before last.
Right.
Yeah. It's gone. I'm trying to pick it up as well, but
it's like
somebody's gonna say it in the comments.
I'm like critical to that project was there, and I can't remember it. Anyway, so we did that thing, and that really open praise. Thank you very much. Open praise.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Roby. That's just.
I told you somebody's gonna put it in the comments.
So it just left. So that after open praise happened, my wife and I moved up to Philadelphia. And I had the production bug. I just had it. And I was just a stage manager, but I would see the soundboard and be so interested in it, but I didn't have any expertise at it. So I started surrounding myself and doing kind of internships in Philadelphia. I went back home to Philadelphia. I took my new wife and one baby at the time, and I would go and I became a part of this community. And it was like I was there where I came from, and I was talking about a bunch of stuff. Listen, a part of that Madison Mission experience, we bought a sound. I convinced Dr. Doggett to buy a sound system. And I was responsible for the sound system.
Wow.
Right? And we were touring with that sound system with the choir. So what I would do, and now the console alone, the mixing desk, the mixing console weighed probably a good 250, 300.
Woo! Wow.
Right, by itself. So I would pull it in to my apartment. It just so happened I had a first floor apartment, or I could get in on the first floor.
Right.
I would bring the console in, I would bring the effects rack in, I would bring one speaker in, and then the PD, the power distribution, and tap into my outlets, you know, my electrical board in
the house.
In the house.
In the apartment, yeah.
Right, in the apartment. And I just would, what's that do?
And you
so
just
here I had a whole PA that I could unfortunately practice on.
There you go.
Right. And so I took that information and stuff to Philadelphia and got a chance to do a couple of odd jobs here and there, work with a few choirs here and there, work on a few projects. And then we moved back. I came, but then I was going back and forth working as a nurse. That was my vocation.
Yeah, yeah.
And a friend of mine, her husband worked for Music Soul Child.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, her husband worked for Music Soul Child, and they called me and was like, "Hey, Music need an audio, a monitor engineer. Can you available? You ready to jump in the fire?"
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I was in Philadelphia flying back from Philadelphia. I had just worked up there for about a month and a half. I had been away from my family for a month and a half. I came back, got the call on a Friday night. I was in the Books A Million on University and the Parkway. And I got this call, and I called Shirley immediately. I said, "I got a call to go out on tour with Music Soul Child." And she was like, but I was like, "I just got home." And she was like, "I am not about to stand in the way of your dream.
Wow.
If you want to do it, go ahead and do it." And listen how green I was. This is how green I was, Kurt. I caught a bus from Huntsville to Nashville.
Okay.
I flew. This was after 9/11. So flights were cheaper and things like that. But it's always cheaper to fly out of Nashville, right? Right.
Even now.
Me, I paid the money, took a bus from Huntsville to Nashville, caught Southwest from Nashville to Baltimore, caught Amtrak from Baltimore to Philadelphia, caught a city bus from the train station to my mother's house.
Oh my goodness.
And then to get to the gig, to get to the pickup for the gig, it just so happens the pickup was around the corner from my mother's house. So I walked there.
That's what God will do.
I walked there. Now look, they were supposed to fly me from Huntsville to Philadelphia and pick me up. But I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Just green and excited.
Excited. I was like, whatever I need to do to get there, that's what I'm going to do. And I got there, and look, met a bunch of the band was great. Production guys were great. Everybody greeted me fine. I was in way over my head. I was in so far over my head. We got to production rehearsal. And I just want to tell you how it started. Like it wasn't all peaches and cream. We got to production rehearsal, and the monitor engine. We were music was opening for Mary J. Blige, right? And her monitor engineer, he was like, "Okay, we're going to make a loom. A loom is a group of cables attached together so they could be put in and out neatly. Without having to deal with each individual wire. That's a loom, basically." He was like, "Okay, let's start with making your drum loom." I was like, "A loom?"
Uh-oh.
He was like, "You just got thrown into this, didn't you?" And I was like, I was. He was like, "I got you." And on that tour, he took care of me.
Okay.
But some of the band did not. I was like, because I was green. I was so used to looking down at the console instead of looking up at the band.
Right.
Because I'm mixing monitors. I'm looking down when I should be looking like
up. Right.
I should be paying attention here because if a signal comes here, then I can go here.
Here,
I was
right.
stuck here. And music has a famous drummer. I won't mention his name. Wonderful guy. He's an amazing guy, and we're semi friends to this day. He almost threw his drumsticks at me because I wasn't paying attention. He was like, "Would you pay attention?"
My goodness!
Turn the bass down. Turn the bass down.
Wow!
Right. So
that communication is so critical in that role,
and you got to know it. You got to see it. And some bass players will go,
"Yeah, that's it. That
means right?
Yeah. Sign language.
Like,
yeah.
That means turn the snare down. The snare's too loud, right? Some people go like that, and that means the hi-hat. I need more of the hi-hat, right? Or I need less of the hi-hat, right? So I got towards the end of that tour, the band wanted to fire me.
Yeah.
But look how God works, right?
Come on, talk to me.
When music was going out on tour again, they asked him, "Who do you want to mix monitors for you on this tour?" He said, "If Shannon Austin's available,
bring him."
Wow. Guess why?
I want to hear this. And I hope that everybody's listening as well. Go ahead.
Guess why? Because I paid attention to him. Wow. I wasn't the best engineer, but he had my attention because the band was like, ignore him. He ain't important. Make sure the band is right.
Wow.
And I was like, he's first, then y'all are second. I got y'all, but I got to have him first.
Yes.
And he saw that. And I worked for music for like 2-3 years after that. Became his production manager, his front of house engineer. So this was my start. And from that gig, I got Fred Hammond. And from Fred Hammond, I worked for Fred Hammond for 2-3 years.
Yes.
From Fred, I went to Floetry. From Floetry, I went to, so it just went Martha Munizzi and this person and that person. And it actually became a career
right.
that I never ever expected or thought that would happen, but it did happen. All because I convinced my pastor to buy a little sound system.
Wow. Man, that story is so powerful, so good. And I think this is a great segue point, man. Listen, I know we have one more question, but I want to get Shelton in. I want to ask him one question. I'm going to bring you back in so we can hash this thing out for a little while. Folks, I hope you guys are settled in. I see there's 30 of us on here. I hope you guys are settled in because we might go over a little bit today. But as you can see, we've got stories. And so we want Shannon to unpack one or two more of those stories. We want to hear a little more from him, but I want to get Shelton in just a second. So Shannon, do not go anywhere, please, my brother.
I'm right here, bro.
You stay right here. I'm gonna do 1-2 things real quick. We're gonna get Shelton on here, and then we're gonna bring you back in. Man, I'm amazed. I'm blown away by all that you have shared, man. Just amazing. Thank you for just again sharing that story. But yes, just give me a few minutes. We're gonna get Shelton on here. We're gonna get him to answer the first question. I see him in the back, nodding his head. We're gonna get him to answer that first question, then we're gonna bring both of you on. And I don't know if we're gonna be able to manage the overload, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try. All right. We're gonna bring you back in just a second. So, folks, I just want to take one quick minute here to share what we got coming in the next month, right? So the month of December is video production. Videography and cinematography is next week, Monday, right? And on next week, Monday, we've got these two gentlemen. Woo! Okay, so they're going to be talking about videography and cinematography and what are the differences. And we're going to figure all that stuff out with these two gentlemen next Monday. But I want you to know something about Mr. McNish. Every headshot that you see of me, I want to say 90% of them were taken by this man right here. So I'm so excited to have him back. He has been on the show last season. Excited to have him back to kind of hash out cinematography and videography. Really want to be able to get down to the nuts and bolts of that thing. And from their, experience, Evan has had some phenomenal experiences as well. One or two that I'm hoping that he's going to get permission to share with us, but I definitely want to be able to do that and bring these guys in. And I have to do this or else I can't even come off of the live stream, right? November 23rd is a special day in the Nugent household, and I just want to wish my little man, Carson Nugent, a happy, happy, happy birthday. Carson, daddy and mommy love you. So proud of you. 11 years old. I can't believe it. Where has the time gone? Family, just in the comments, because I know he's watching in the family room right now. If you could just say a quick HBD Carson in the comments right now, I know that will tickle his heart and warm his day. But yes, we are going to bring in brother Shelton Morgan here in just a second. Shelton, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Kirk?
Man. Listen, Shannon had us running, man. I told y'all, but in the pre-show, I was like, I'm ready to do my lap. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
yeah. Shannon will talk your head off.
Man, Shannon, man, those stories are powerful though. Because the way that he strung that thing together in terms of paying attention, being, not just the technical pieces, but the client services part, being attentive to those details. That goes a long way. Yeah, that goes a long way. Shelton, I want to just give you a minute or two. I don't even want to ask a question at first. I want to just give you a minute to just share with folks a little bit about who you are, those that don't know, right? I had the pleasure of meeting you earlier and being able to get familiar with you and doing some homework. I always do for people who we're going to have on the show. Of course, you came triply and quadruply highly recommended from people that I absolutely trust. And I see some of them are in the comments right now. And so, but I know that there are others who really would benefit from just hearing a little bit more about who you are and your perspective as it relates to this whole audio engineering thing. Talk to us a little.
Wow. Oh man. First of all, thanks for having me, man. This is great. I think we need to do more of these.
I think so too. Yes.
So often in the church world, especially, we don't value. I don't want to say value. We don't understand the necessity of these kinds of conversations around.
I would say even value. I would even go as far as to say value. but I see your point.
I don't want to make anybody mad tonight, so I'm going to stay there.
Yeah.
But for me, man, it started for me as a kid, man. I remember laying on the floor with these stereo speakers pointed towards my ears, just on either side of my head.
Wow.
Listening to funk, Lakeside. Fantastic Voyage is a song that I remember. And I would just kind of sit and absorb music, lay on the floor, and these speakers would be like my headphones. And I would just lay on the floor and absorb music. I would do it with gospel, all manner of things. And my mom would say when I was little, as in single digits, that I would just know like every part of every little song. Wow. And I can listen to those songs today and still know what parts come where. I may not know the words to the songs verbatim, but I'll know every single musical part of the song.
Right.
And, for me, it kind of started out doing sound at camp meeting, oddly enough. My dad saw my interest in this whole sound thing, and he set me up one day and left. And I was 15 years old. It was sink or swim.
There it is.
I've been swimming ever since.
Wow.
It's been a really, really cool kind of journey. I spent from 1993 to 2000 in Nashville and had some amazing opportunities there. Between the recording stuff that I did and the live stuff that I did, I covered almost everybody in gospel music. Between those years, either live or studio, and so it was a great opportunity to do the thing.
I just want to give a quick shout out here. I want to give a quick shout out to the parent whose child is literally sitting on the speaker, right? The parent whose child is like, they have on the dome headphones and you can hear it across the house, right? To that parent who's like, what in the world is this child doing to themselves? I want you to hone in on this story. I want you to really drink in what Shannon, what Shelton is saying. And I also want to say a word of affirmation for parents who are actively looking for the gifts that God has placed within their children, and they're trying to call it out of them. I believe that moment where your dad gave you that opportunity, sink or swim.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a critical moment, and I think
made a
there it is.
Make a break moment for me.
But it's an opportunity, and it's an opportunity. And I really believe one of the things we always talk about here on How It All Works is, that meeting of preparation and opportunity. And that is the thing that we need to afford one another is an opportunity. I think Shannon said it as well. I mean, what Music Soul Child gave him was an opportunity. Yeah. And yes, the reason for it was unique, and it was a powerful story, but it's an opportunity. And I think a lot of us, man, how far we could go if we would just not only take advantage of the opportunities that we're given, but also, and I know I'm talking too much, but also to set up and create opportunities for others.
Right.
And I wanted to put that in there. Go ahead, Shelton.
Yeah, no, that's very important. But here's what I'm going to say though, to the parent that has that child playing those headphones real loud, tell them to turn it down a little bit, but still listen. You got to protect his ears. Got to protect his ears.
I love it.
We were talking pre-show about earbuds and all that kind of stuff, and I told Kirk and Shannon, Shannon knows this already, that I never ever wear earbuds and very, very seldom wear headphones. It's because I have to protect my ears. If I can't hear, I can't work. And so, that's just a part of protecting me.
Folks, there's the hashtag. If I can't hear, I can't work.
That's it.
So he's got to protect that gift in order for him to continue exercising the craft. I don't want anybody to miss that part. The man said if he can't hear, he can't work. Continue, Shelton.
Yeah, and for me, earbuds, anything that's going directly in my ears makes my ears hurt. And it doesn't matter how low the volume is. It's just that kind of pressure going directly into my ears. So I just can't do that. But anyway, I've had an opportunity to travel the world. I've had an opportunity to work Radio City. I've worked in probably 30 of the 50 states and about 18 different countries.
Wow.
Put a lot of miles on my body over the years. And it's fun. Well, it's not always fun, but most of the time it's fun. And being able to do something that you enjoy. To do something that really, really has a purpose, it makes all the difference in the world.
Man, that's gold.
It really, really does.
Absolute gold. Listen, I want to go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to throw this question to you, and I want you to take your time to unpack your answer, and then we're gonna try and get Shannon back on here and see if we can release these people at a decent time. But here's the question: I want you to walk us through.
I've got time.
Okay, good. Well, if you've got time, I whether they've got time or not, we're gonna hold them close because if they need to go, they can catch the replay. But here's the question: I want you to take a moment and walk us through your process to prepare for a production. We asked a similar question to Shannon as well, and we want you to to make it practical and share an actual experience, right? From the time the thing was conceptualized to the time that you're actually going live for the production. Yeah. Talk to us about what that process looks like.
Yeah, Shannon really kind of said it. The advance is everything.
Wow.
For me, like for between 2013 and 2018. I was production manager and ministry coordinator for William McDowell. So, we did a lot of different venues, a lot of different cities, a lot of different countries. For me, it would start with, the advance. Where's it going to be? What I want to know, in addition to the things that Shannon said, as we get into the advance, I'm going to meet with the people bringing in PA. Right. I'm going to meet with the backline company. I'm going to meet with all these people to find out, what substitutions we need to make if they can't get because we have to go over every single thing on the rider.
Right.
And as road manager, I also
the rider has to be there.
The rider had to be there. As road manager, I had to also take care of booking hotels and flights and all that kind of stuff. But as for the date, making sure that everything was good for the event before we even got on a plane or anything like that. Wow. What I want to do is I want to check and make sure of what console I'm going to have, because I need to know if I have a show profile on a drive for that console. Wow. If I don't, then that's going to add extra time to my day when I get there, because I'm going to have to build the show.
Build it out. Wow.
And a lot of times, I prefer Yamaha consoles. That's just my thing. I like their architecture. Yamaha and Midas are kind of my comfort zone. There are times you'll get an Avid desk. You'll even get a Behringer or Midas desk, a small format Midas desk, something like that.
Yeah.
But back in the day, when we had analog, I did a thing one time at Radio City with Hezekiah Walker, and we had 2 48-channel consoles because they were analog, they were beasts. Yeah, Monte Digico. They were beasts. So I had to literally sit on a chair and roll back and forth to mix the event, but it makes it much more difficult. So you have to go through that thought process.
Right.
And then for me, once we get to the date, once we get off the plane and I send the singers to the hotel and I take the band to the venue, I don't look at sound at all first. I walk into the room, I look at the space. I want to know where are the seats? How far are they from speakers? I want to know how high the ceiling is, because that's going to be the highest point. Now, am I under that point? I did an event with CeCe Winans at World Changers one time, many years ago.
Okay.
And the mix position at that time was under the highest part of the dome. It sounded completely different in that mix position than it did 10 feet on either side.
So it's, oh my goodness.
So, I want to know the makeup of the room. I want to know what the seats are covered with. I want to know what's on the floor. I want to see the angles of the walls. I want to know what the humidity is going to be like that day, because that's going to affect how hard I have to push the system. Are we outside? Are we inside? All of these things matter. One thing I learned a long time ago is everything can be an obstruction. Anything can be an obstruction. And everything affects sound. It's so easy for people to say, "Oh, just set it up and leave it." Well, no, that's not how it works.
I love it.
If you're doing a show outside and it's really humid, you're going to have to push that system a little harder, and it's going to have to be brightened a little bit because humidity darkens sound.
There you go.
So all these little things that you don't really have a physical checklist on, that you just kind of go through. When we started talking about doing this a couple of days ago, I started kind of going through my mental checklist. Things that I did when I got to a space. And so, that whole part of it is all before you push a button or turn a knob.
That's excellent.
And I'll tell anybody, the most important thing, Shannon may agree, may disagree, the most important thing before you push a button or turn a knob is to understand your audience.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So
who's listening?
Here's a story. We did a thing. I was with CeCe at the time, and we did this thing called DCLA. DCLA was this kind of big Christian youth concert, right? One city was Los Angeles, obviously, and the other city was DC. We were doing the LA portion of it. So we flew into LA on Friday morning, and we're at the LA Convention Center. There's like 10,000 screaming youth, right?
Mercy.
It was blazing. It was hot. Boom, 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 bang. It was great. We get on a red eye, fly here to Charlotte to do an event the next night. Now, here's what I say about understanding your audience, because I got humbled on this event. So we get to Charlotte, and I'm thinking, we go through sound check. I'm like, man, this is going to be great. So I'm in there mixing the event in the beginning, bang, and it's killer. But now, I had not learned yet to first understand your audience. My audience in this particular case was the Lutheran Women's Convention.
Ooh.
So we went from 8,000 to 10,000 screaming youth to like 1,000 Lutheran women. Now, this is not a dig on Lutheran women. Please understand.
Understood.
A difference in audience.
Right.
And so as we're kind of moving along in the first couple of songs, my mix is great. I think I'm doing something. And this guy walks past me like this. I was like, oh, so that doesn't work here.
Here. Wow.
I had to completely change my approach to the night.
Wow.
See,
wow.
You have to understand your audience. I've probably mixed in front of more denominations than I can care to count. But what I have learned is that understanding your audience first is what's going to help you gain an advantage on making that evening special.
Wow, man.
And those are the kinds of things, when you go to the Caribbean, they want that bass, that kick and that bass to be banging your heads off. Come on. But you don't want to do that at a very conservative church in Iowa. It's just you got to understand.
And the audience. Wow.
Understand the audience.
So huge.
Because because at the end of the day, all of my work has been in gospel music. At the end of the day, my responsibility is to the message. And I'm a message first guy. I mix vocals on top. That's me. Mm-hmm. And so we have that responsibility. And if we don't accomplish that, if we don't take our audience into consideration, then we lose the message that the person we're working for is trying to convey.
Man.
And the person we're working for is actually not on the stage.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head.
And now if you swing this around to church work and the responsibility of church teams, when I do training and stuff at churches, I let them know, listen, you are, whether you like it or not, whether you love this responsibility or not, you are the gatekeeper to somebody's salvation.
Woo.
And so you're just not
that's the weight of it.
And it gives it some weight.
Yeah.
Right. And if you are not noticed, you've done a good job that day. Because like you guys said earlier, people only notice the sound guy when something goes wrong.
There it is.
If nothing goes wrong, you've done your job. If you want to get recognition, this is not the job for you.
Wow.
It's not. This is the job for the person that just wants to stay in the cut and not be noticed. That's why I love it.
Yeah.
Being in front of stuff is not my thing.
Man, let me tell you.
I can get on and talk about this in order to help build a team or encourage somebody. I think it's great. Because like you guys also said earlier, this is about building the community. Historically, like when I started doing this, there were very few of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. And we need to. I'm just putting one thing in here. I've spoken with Shannon about this at length, trying to identify females in this field, and we struggled to have someone join this panel. Now, somebody inevitably always comes back and says, "Hey, Kirk, I know somebody." After I share that on the show, right? And I hope that they do, because I will call her, whoever she is, because I am looking to include female voices in this space, because we not only need to get us in, but I know that women have the capacity to be beasts at these positions as well. Yeah, for sure. And it's important that we understand the importance of what we do. Yes. Because we can be the biggest distraction. And it could literally be as simple as making sure the batteries are changed before the service starts. Wow, man. That intentionality. You start that service, and that pastor starts hooping, and he's in the middle of his thing, and his battery dies, man. Oh, let me tell you, it's so distracting. Byron Bell, I see your comment. I will be in touch. Yeah, Byron's a good dude, by the way. Okay, good. No, I mean, I know. I'm just putting it out there because I know I get a lot of feedback from folks saying these all male panels, what's going on? I'm like, look, fam, it's not for the lack of trying. Maybe I just need to expand my circles. I know that. And Richard Cintron mentioned Danielle Lewis. Okay. I can actually send you her. Well, she might not want me to send you her. But, no, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I prefer for the person that knows them to make the contact first. But listen, this is what we're going to do, Shelton, because I want to play the intro for this concert. I want to play the intro for it. When the intro is done, it'll be me, you, and Shannon on screen. And we're gonna talk through some of the pieces. of how, you know, this experience happened, and again, share some of the things that we talked about in the pre-show.
Yes,
so let's get that on screen here, and then we will hash it out on the other side.
Very cool.
I just realized that I had muted all of us, so nobody even heard me saying wow. But yeah, man, listen, listen.
That was a great night, brother.
That was a great week.
That was a great week.
Yeah. Man, listen. We're all on screen now. Let's hash this thing out. Talk to us about that experience. Who's the artist? What roles did both of you play? Let's get into it.
That was William McDowell, Sounds of Revival record. We recorded that in Baton Rouge back in 2015. Shannon was the monitor engineer that night and had probably 15 different mixes going. I was front of house production manager for that night and also mixed the record. It was a really, really great week.
Wow.
And when you want to talk about preparation and the process, that is one of those things that stretches the process to the hilt.
Yeah.
When you have to do so much, when you have so many different responsibilities.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you you said Shannon was mixing.
He was the monitor engineer.
Monitor engineer.
Yeah.
And yes, go. I want you to speak to what that position, you know, what that player on the field does, and what the criticality of it is.
You want to do that?
Come on, Shannon.
So the monitor engineer is in essence the monitor engineer that is a person that allows the artist to hear what they're doing on stage.
Okay.
Right. Typically, if you know that, because people don't really understand this from a church perspective, because it's usually all the same person.
All the same person, right?
Because they're not paying for gear and separate people and all these different things. And so, but for me, that's what I started doing. I am too a front of house mixer. I prefer the front of house, but because I don't mind things in my ears, I can flow. I can flow to that department. And so the uniqueness of this is typically you have, let's say, a 5-piece band. And let's say if each of them have their own mix, and then there's a main mix, then I mean that's 6 mixes that you have to deal with.
Woo.
Very rarely in church. They should do it in church. There is a church that both Shelton and I have. No, they don't do that there. No. This was another church. Shelton and
No,
I
yeah,
didn't. They don't do. They have wedges there.
Yeah, they do.
There was one church that I worked at, which is World Changers, which is Creflo Dollar's church. Their singers are go on ears. Their praise teams go on ears. There are no wedges on stage at all.
Wow.
Because remember, for them, broadcast is very, very important. So,
yeah,
Shelton doesn't understand what ears are. It's earbuds that person gets their own mix, and what that means is they get exactly what they want in their
ear.
So they can hear exactly what they need to be successful for that event. Sorry.
Wow. No. That's good. And I'm glad you took the second, because I do believe that we have audience members who are, at varying levels of awareness in terms of some of the terminology we're using. So thank you for taking that second. The wedges are the speakers.
Yes. The wedges.
Yes. And in-ears are speakers that go in your ears, right? So to have 15 mixes, some of which are stereo mixes, we even had to choose the right console that had that capability.
Right.
Because all consoles, if you have a Behringer X32 or Midas, what is it? What's the Midas version
the
called?
Pro Series doesn't have enough.
Right. If you,
I had a Pro 6 that night.
It doesn't have enough auxiliary sends to be able to manage that many mixes, right?
Right.
And so that in and of itself was a feat. And then to have everybody on ears, because look, when you're doing a live recording, and Shelton, of course, in the pre-planning for this, and he's listening to the end result in the studio already in his head. Well, you can't have a monitor bleeding into a microphone that's now dirtying up the tracks that you have that you're mixing. Because if you're turning up the person and the bleed is coming through their microphone, you're turning up their bleed. You're compressing their bleed. You're compressing their EQ. And so the goal is to get a clean recording. And that's where a great monitor mixer comes in, to be able to make sure that your broadcast. One more reason why it's important to have a monitor position, and a good monitor position. Shelton, listen, it was thunderous in that room that night. I'm talking the Shekinah glory thunder. I'm talking. Listen. Now I'm behind the PA on that intro. If you see to the right, you see some green screens, and you see, but I'm of course in show black, so you can't see me. Right. But that's my position. Right. And that position is behind the PA. I felt him like I just wanted to take my ears out and go sit in front of the PA, just to step in front of it, because I could feel how good it sounded. I could feel how much energy was in the room from the PA and how he was mixing, right? Wow. One of the reasons why he could mix like that is because the stage, for the most part, was almost silent.
Man, it makes all the difference in the world.
The drums were enclosed.
Yep. Completely. So
the guitar cabinets were underneath the stage in some back room. Yeah. The Leslie was in another room. So everybody could only hear their instruments in their mix. I was responsible for that. But
what he's not saying is he had a drummer, a bass player, 2 guitar players, 3 keyboard players, an organ player, that's 6, 9 singers that all had their own mixes by themselves. Woo! And then a wedge just for guests, plus the lead vocal.
My goodness.
And I can't remember if we had any side fills.
We didn't have side fills that night.
We did not, because we wanted to keep it quiet. So all of that he had to take care of. My job was easy.
Yep. Listen, I know we're gonna you guys are gonna continue hashing this thing out, but I do want to catch this question from Ludwig here. Sure. I'm throwing it on screen, and he's saying we're the front of house subs.
Oh gosh, man, I don't know.
No, they weren't. They weren't. because the energy, because I felt the energy coming off the back of the truck.
He was on the back side, Ludwig, and so
okay.
And they were big and they were clean. That was recorded at Jonathan Stockstill's church in Baton Rouge. I can't remember the name of the church, but we did bring in a little bit of extra PA to help. And I did not use the church's console. I had a Midas Pro 6 that night, and it was, I don't know, 50 something channels of audio, and it was great. Ooh. I'm sorry, go ahead, Shannon. No, talking about monitors.
No. That's I just went. I was throwing the alley-oop because look, you can't have a good experience. You wouldn't have had a great recording. Whoever goes and listens to that recording wouldn't have been what it is if Shelton did not, and Shelton and countless other production professionals, production managers who have the job of dealing with broadcast or dealing with a live event and making sure that, because artists, unless they are really, really particular, they always want more.
Yeah.
Like they always want more. So you can have a stage volume that's at 110 dB.
Right.
And look.
And they're still doing this.
And here's the thing: when they want it that loud at the front of house, I have to mix louder than that.
You have to mix over that
just to make sure I get some clean audio. Because if I'm not mixing louder than that in the house, it gets muddy and dark, and it's not clean. It's terrible. And so
I want to. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because of that, the whole in-ear thing is just makes things worlds better. Because it cuts the stage volume way down.
This is the piece I want both of you to speak to, and then we're going to play another clip that's going to show our audience a small piece, because we don't want to get kicked offline here, but a small piece of the actual recording. But I want you to speak to how was the mix done. So you have an in-house mix, you have a recording mix, and then you have a mix that my assumption is that went with the video, right, for the production.
Okay, so here's how that works. Okay. Danny Duncan, who is one of the best live recording engineers, he has a flight pack. So he brings his rig in and they record all that stuff. They multi-track all that stuff. Excellent. So what I'm doing live, let me back up. Now, all the channels hit what's called a splitter, right? So the main inputs go into this splitter. Shannon gets a feed. I get a feed of all the channels on stage.
Yeah.
Shannon gets a feed. I get a feed at front of house, and the recording guy gets a feed so he can record each instrument individually. And so once all that stuff is done, I'll get the files back, and then I start the mix process. Now, even in between that, there are post-production overdubs that go in. In some spots, there are like 140 tracks on that record.
My goodness.
Of information. It's a lot of stuff on that record. But so once the audio is mixed, they will just lock that back up to the video, and it's all in sync.
My goodness.
That's kind of how that works.
Wow.
Now, so just for understanding, let's say that was a one and done. It was going to go live to the world that night. Then the broadcast, then there would have been a broadcast mixer who would have been doing what Shelton is doing, but just for the broadcast.
In a room somewhere with some monitors, so we would not have to deal with the noise of the actual space.
Got you. Man, that
unless it was coming through a microphone.
Right.
See, that gives all of us some perspective. I want to play this clip, and then let's see where that puts us as we seek to try to land the plane here. We're already over our time.
Keep circling. Keep circling.
We're not getting a signal from the tower. But no, we're gonna play this clip, and then we're gonna hash out this piece, and then I want to make sure you guys have information from both of these guys so you can follow them, so that you can reach out to them. Don't spam them. You can see that they're here on the show. They're giving this information of their free will and their expertise. Man, this is excellent information, not just for those who want to go into the field. And that's actually my last question for both of you. So be thinking about that. What advice do you have for aspiring professionals? But not only for those who want to go into the field, but those who just want to understand the discipline that it takes. I'm saying discipline above and beyond their technical ability, that it takes some of the thought process, the perspectives that they need to have in mind to put together a successful project. But let's catch this clip.
Come on, put those hands together one more time. Come on. We're gonna declare something tonight.
Listen. I want, for those who are in the comments, it looks like we're still online, praise God. But for those who are in the comments, I want you to think about that clip we just showed. Think about the different camera angles and the people and what they're doing. And every last one of them has a microphone. Every last one of them has something from an audio perspective to offer that recording. That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, this is wizardry at work here. So go ahead, gentlemen. Go ahead. I just listen. I'm the fanboy, so I take the position of the audience right on screen. So, but yes, please talk to us a little bit more about what we've got here.
You know, Kirk. I always say this to people. What we do is what our gift is, right? Do not give me a scalpel and say, "Hey, remove that guy's liver." That's not what I do.
Ooh, that's good.
That's not what God gave me.
That's good.
He gave me this, and this is what I do. And so I've made a determination, and I'd made this determination a really, really long time ago, that this is what I wanted to do. This is what I'm gifted to do. And it's just one of those things where you make a decision and you go.
Yeah.
You know, when my dad left me in that instance, and I was actually mixing from behind the stage. I was at the youth tent at the Allegheny East Conference.
Fine Forge, come on.
Yeah, the console was behind
tent.
Yes, right.
Tent, not pavilion, not building, tent.
And so
with the sawdust.
Yeah, and so you know, it's one of those things where if you can survive the bumps, and there are a lot of bumps in this gig, man. There are a lot of bumps. Shannon will tell you.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Between ungrateful artists and not getting paid and fighting to get your money and all that kind of stuff, it all exists. But at the end of the day, I love what I do so much that there's nothing that I would rather do. Between doing the live thing and studio, you know, I know a lot of guys that won't touch both.
Wow.
My mentor, he is probably one of the best studio mix engineers on the planet to me, but he will not touch live. He won't do it.
Wow.
Because there's so many things that can go wrong.
And he's Adventist.
Yeah.
I see.
But he is super, super, super dope. And you know, there is an element of control that you have in the studio that you just don't have live.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And I tell people, if you want to, so this kind of leads into the advice for the person, the question.
Yes. Yes, please. I saw the question, and that is actually part of our final question for both of you.
Yeah.
Please. If
you have a child that wants to do it, feed them that stuff. And because what you want to do is make sure they want to do it. Because if you're not sure you want to do it, it'll gobble you up. You know, getting to the level, and I don't want to say it like that, but I'm going to say it like that.
Yeah, no, say it.
Getting to kind of where Shannon and I have gotten, and I'm not saying this boastfully, I'm just saying from the standpoint of
no, must be said.
It can beat you up. Mm-hmm. You know, the travel. You know, when we used to do, when I used to do trips with William to Africa, man, we would oftentimes we would leave on Wednesday, get there Thursday, do an event on Friday, be back on a plane to come home on Sunday. I'm on Saturday. To Africa. So you're talking about 20-something hours travel each way, then do an event, then get back on the plane. Listen, it will beat you up. It would take a week for me to get myself back together, but it couldn't be too long because the next weekend we would be somewhere else.
There it is.
You know, we did a thing one time where we were in London one weekend. We came back from London straight to Pittsburgh and then did 5 nights at a church in Pittsburgh for a revival. By the end of that week, I was trash.
Man.
Because we landed in Pittsburgh on Monday morning and had to do a service Monday night. It was brutal. And that's the kind of stuff that tests your love.
There it is. That's what I was going to say, because that's the point right there. That's the point.
So it's more than, hey, this is just really fun. It's not always fun. It's not always fun. Marsha, live is the preference. She prefers live. Yeah. People have asked me often, do I prefer live or do I prefer studio? And for me, they're kind of different animals. I love the immediacy of the live night because you got one chance to get it right.
Right.
But I also love the process of making a record, of mixing a record. So seeing something conceptualized to finished product, something that hits the street, and then watching people's responses to it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that
I want Shannon to touch that question as well, and then I want both of you to kind of plug your hustle, because and this doesn't have to be audio related, because I know Shannon, you've got some big things happening in a different space, and I want you to be able to plug that as well. But Shannon, just speak to folks. Shelton has kind of talked through some pieces, and I love the idea and the concept of a mentor. I personally believe that if you intend to be phenomenal at something, you need to walk in the footsteps of someone who you want to chase after, right? And I believe that having a mentor is a critical piece. And so Shelton has kind of touched on that, but I want to hear from you, Shannon. You know, what would your advice be to that aspiring professional? Maybe there is some more that they need to do to ensure that they really want to do this. But what if they said, yes, I'm willing to go through both the bad and the good because this is a love of mine. This is a passion of mine. What do you say to that person? What are the steps?
Well, a couple of things, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. I learned in the military there were 2 things that a leader needed to do, a person in leadership needed to do. They needed to take care of the troops, and they needed to accomplish the mission. And to accomplish the mission, you needed to be technically and tactically proficient, right? And so you have to absorb, immerse yourself in an environment, and you can't take no for an answer. You can't take no for, you can't take, listen, when I was traveling back and forth to Philadelphia, I would work a double as a nurse, get some sleep, and then go down to a studio and intern, or go to a church and work for a concert.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or you know, all these different things. The one thing that I tell you know what the key to audio engineering is in a nutshell? If you do not have the patience to learn how to wrap a cable properly, this is not the job for you.
That's so true.
Right?
Man, it's funny. Kirk is sitting there like, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to learn to do this, I want to do this, I say, I grab a mic cable. I show them how to wrap the mic cable. I unravel the mic cable, and then I give it to them. Yeah, man.
And good. Then I'm like, when you're able to do this, I might have a conversation with you.
I love it. I love it.
Because what I'm doing, right? My godfather, Leon Burnett, amazing man, amazing production professional, amazing. I mean, worked back in the day with all these different bands and what have you, and road managed. He has been one of my mentors and helped me to understand my love for production. I said to him one time, I said, we were doing the Gospel Music Workshop of America, and we just came from all the showcases. And I said, "Hey, Pop," I said, "I'm gonna mix your showcase one day." And he was like, "You'll never mix my showcase." I got out of that van pouting. I was mad, bro. We were staying in New Orleans at the Marriott down there on that whatever that main street is. We were staying in that Marriott, and I didn't say nothing to nobody. I got out and went out. But that thing lit a fire under me.
Ooh.
To the point that one day he called me. It wasn't for a showcase, but it was, could you come and mix for me?
Mm-hmm.
Could you work? I want to hire you. That was my coming out, because if he believed in me, then I kind of felt like I had arrived. And so, and then the last thing I want to say is always, 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 always be humble.
Yeah.
Because the job will humble you.
Yes, sir.
Right? Really quick story about humility.
Please.
Working for Music Soul Child, and we started a tour. His record came out, Loving Music, and we started up in like Detroit area, right?
That's my dude, man.
And we swept down, and we were coming down the coast. Look, Kirk, we were killing it. He was every night. He was killing it. And then when the song "Just Friends" came on, that was the last song. All that low end, everybody was in there rocking and rolling. So we're coming down the coast, and I'm like, "Oh, we're killing it." Each night, it was just night after night after night of killing it, right? And then we came to Atlanta, where I live right now, and this was a show off of the tour. And we were doing a show. It was Robin Thicke, Music Soul Child, and Joe.
Oh, wow.
And we was.
I remember that. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. And I said we were in the middle. So Robin Thicke was opening. It was us and then Joe. I was like, Joe don't want to go after us. He don't want this smoke. He does not want to go after us, right? But he going after us, so whatever, right? So we get in, we do the sound check. We went a little long on sound check because there were some problems in the room. So this was we weren't touring with a digital console. Digital consoles were out, but they weren't in this budget, this touring budget.
Gotcha.
So we were going venue to venue, whatever was there, that's what we were working with. So they had I think it was a Midas H3000, wonderful desk to mix on, right? But the outboard EQ, sidebar, one of the most important things for a front of house engineer is to get the room to sound right. That's called tuning. You want to tune the room, right? That is probably one of the first things you got to do to get to a place where you can actually mix for the night. I had tuned the room intricately. I had done all my thing. The room was sounding good. We did our sound check, and I was like, we killing Joe tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight we killing Joe. Well, they had an Ashley graphic EQ on the house mix. It was digital, and you could save presets. I went in after I mixed, after I did a sound check and all that, I saved my preset, right? And I took pictures of the console because that was the only way I could get back to where it was if somebody was on it before me, right? So we came up. I normally come out when there's an opener with earplugs in because I don't want their mix to taint what I'm hearing. I want to hear the room fresh, right?
That's good.
But I decided to take my earplugs out. And I was like, wow, Robin Thicke was up there killing it. The last song, he was killing it. I was like, this room sounds amazing. We did the changeover. The intro started. I unmute my console. And I was like, what in the devil am I listening to? This was the worst thing I had ever heard in my entire life. I was looking at the console. I was looking at the front of house tech that was there for the room.
Woo.
I'm looking around and I'm like,
And the house tech was like,
the house tech was like, hey, brother, you working? You here? You here? Do your thing, brother. And I'm looking at processing. I'm looking at all types of things, and I'm trying to figure out what is the man. So now I can't focus on that too much, right? I got to get this mix sounding right.
Right.
So I'm like,
it's mercy.
And we did a 45-minute set. Up until the very last song, which was Just Friends, I was panicking. Nothing sounded good. Nothing sounded right.
Wow.
Everything was wrong.
Wow.
Once we finished, I packed up my stuff. Joe's engineer came up, and guess what he did, Kirk? He went to the EQ and pressed the button for his preset. I had not recalled my preset from the tune.
Oh.
So I was not tactically proficient. I was arrogant in my approach.
Yeah.
And from then on, I took every show, every time I mixed, I would automatically assume that the worst blast of feedback was going to come at me. And I everything I did was to keep that from happening.
Wow.
So my attention to detail was so much more fine-tuned.
Yeah.
I prayed before I mixed.
There it is.
I bowed my head and I was like, Lord, you know the struggles we had today. But I pray that the artist is represented, that the fans have a great time. And then I just glorify you. I would pray before, and I'm mixing secular music. And it's because I was not humble. So the advice I would give is when you walk into whatever environment, I don't care how big or small the environment is, always bring your A game, always treat the band members and the singers and the talent or the preacher as if they were your child that you needed to take care of.
Yes.
Consider them above you and always understand that they can always hire somebody else.
Yeah, that's real.
You are fireable.
Wow.
At any given moment.
Wow.
I've seen some of the best. We talked about it in the pre-show, right, Kirk?
Yeah.
I know some of the most outstanding engineers that you could ever want to see get fired by Prince. I saw Lauryn Hill. I was one of them. Go through 40 monitor engineers.
My word.
Well, there's some
artists that only have one or two in their entire career.
Right.
She has had 40 fired or quit. So you are replaceable. You are not. You are definitely expendable.
Listen, man.
And to the younger person,
come on,
to the younger person who wants to do this, I'll tell people what they need to learn. You need to understand gain structure. You need to understand frequency response, and you need to understand signal flow. If you can get those three things, then you can start. Then then study music like mad.
Let me make sure I get that now. Gain structure, frequency response, signal flow. Would you add anything to that, Shannon?
No, that's the triangle offense right there.
That is the foundation of what we do. If you can't understand those things, you cannot be successful.
You will not be successful.
You will not be successful at being an engineer.
There it is. I'm just throwing it on screen for folks. Understand gain structure, frequency response, and signal flow. I just want to make sure our numbers are climbing the more we're over our time. I don't know how that works, but
well, it's how it works. It's how it all works.
Here's how it all works.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to cut you off, Shannon, but as you're winding down, I want both of you to take a moment and just kind of tell people where they can find you. I know that I put both of your websites in the description of this video on YouTube, so they can find you there. But if there's social media handles, or if there's projects that either of you are working on that they can come and support, or where they can hear you speaking, anything like that, I want to make sure that we get that out there for the audience to know as well. So even as you wrap up, I want you to be thinking about that, because I'm coming to both of you for that.
Sure.
Well, for me, it's about, this is where God has me right now.
Right.
Because, listen, let me make this request first, right? Before I plug anything. I want the people that are on this live, right? Mm-hmm. And the people that will hear the replay.
Yes.
To pray for live production professionals.
For sure. You're getting killed.
Because there are no concerts. There are no venues open. Ooh. There are what we do as a livelihood
is gone.
Wow.
Yeah. It's real talk.
There might be a couple of things that people did some lives and needed an engineer. I heard, I saw one of the ones that sits on my Jedi council is Kenny Nash. Mm-hmm. He did something with Erykah Badu recently. Mm-hmm. And that was a live. Hey man, they are struggling. When I'm in some of our group chats, and the live engineers, what people are aspiring to be, they are struggling financially. Wow. Because nobody's flying to do nothing. Nobody's working on anything. Nobody's doing shows. There's no Super Bowl halftime show. None of that stuff is happening.
My goodness.
And if you understand how many artists and engineers are moving around the country when people are asleep, getting on flights at 3 and 4 and 5 in the morning, flying private here and there to get to hither and yon to do shows. So I want to make sure that although we are not considered frontline workers,
come on,
whenever you go to that show that you went to, your artist that you miss seeing, it was a live production professional that made sure that event went off. And we need to pray for these people.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes back, it's going to come back like gangbusters. But right now, people have been out of work. And during the busiest season of the year, when COVID hit, to now is the season.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say that. But, Marriage Inc., we have our Marriage Inc. Facebook group, Life, Love, and Marriage. My wife Shirley and I are marriage coaches and have a burning desire to see people's relationships be stronger. And someone had asked about family and touring and family in this career. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of us production professionals, it can take a toll, especially the touring ones in live, right? But studio engineers that spend 16 hours in a studio or weird hours.
Yes.
Not coming home till 3 and 4 in the morning because that's when the artist is working. Right. I remember doing overdubs with Shelton up at Joey Kibble's studio for the Open Praise Project, right? At 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning, doing overdubs. So
wow.
Just but that's what we're doing. One Shannon Austin on Instagram, at Marriage Inc. on Instagram, and Relationship Rewind on Facebook. And Kirk, I thank you. We have some exciting things coming up. That are going to really kind of change how people approach marriage and relationships. And Shelton has been in there with me. We're not talking about audio all day. I'll call him and yo, man, what you think about this?
Exactly.
And he'll be like, that's whack, or go with it. We speak very frankly and honestly with each other. So
right.
That's my brother from another mother, and that's what we got going on over here.
What? Listen, I even as Shelton's preparing to go, I just want to say a word of thanks to you, Shannon, for putting me in touch with Shelton, and I'm glad that, of course, you answered the call. You know, from earlier on in the year when I told you we're going to have this conversation again. You know, I was already coming to you, right? So we already had that understanding. But man, I think that the combination of the two and some of the work that you've done collectively together really kind of helps people to see a better picture of what this audio engineering life can look like. And I'm excited for subsequent conversations that we will have as well. But Shelton, man, talk to the folks a little bit about you know, I'm seeing, I just want to pause and say, I'm seeing folks are saying in the chat that they will covenant to pray for audio engineers with that added perspective that we've received today. Yeah. That yes, it is closed down and this is their livelihood. This is their livelihood.
It's a real thing. You know, like Shannon said, it's easy to take entertainment for granted, right?
Right.
We go to shows and we expect them to be there. We expect them to happen. But when they're not happening, you have no idea the numbers of people that aren't working. Wow. And I'm talking about engineers. I'm talking about musicians. I'm talking about concessions people. I'm talking about parking lot attendants. I'm talking about the whole gamut of people that are not working because of all this.
Wow.
And, you know, for me, thankfully, you know, I do the studio thing as well. And so I've been, you know, mixing projects. And I also, you know, I work as a contractor doing some corporate audio. Now they have mostly shut down, but what they have also learned is they can do virtual conferences. And so they've been bringing us in a little bit. But for the most part, I've been doing pretty good with, you know, mixing projects, mixing records and stuff. It's kind of cool because I have everything set up here at home and I don't have to go to a space and pay rent. But I'm just trying to stay busy, just reaching out to people constantly, always trying to have some stuff in the pipeline.
Right.
We don't have the opportunity to say no to anything. So you just take everything and you work until you can't see anymore because you don't know when the next thing is
next one's coming in. Right.
So
wow.
And
Roby said something similar last week. Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, he knows.
Yeah.
That's just real talk. So for me, I'm at S Morgan Digital Audio on Instagram. S Morgan Digital Audio on Instagram. I never go on Twitter, so I don't even know what my Twitter handle is.
But Instagram.
Shelton Morgan on Facebook. I try to do lives. I went through a period where I was doing a lot of lives. I'm kind of working on some stuff right now because what I always do is check with the client to see if they're okay with that. If they're not okay with it, then I don't do it. So right now I'm working on something where the client is just not okay with that.
Right.
I am also going to be pushing my YouTube channel.
Yes. Excellent.
Soon. You guys
follow me. Follow back up with me so that I can make sure the audience knows where to go.
Sure.
So and Shannon the same. You make sure you send me, you know, that list of handles that I can put in the description of this video, so that as people come back or maybe even catch the replay, if they're coming back to get a note or two that they missed or they wanted to reemphasize or they want to rehear, they can get that in the description. So please, you know, kind of keep in touch so that I can keep that fresh on this platform as well.
You can tell these guys they got real pretty lights and stuff. I'm an audio guy with just like white.
But man, listen. But you know what? One of the things, and I know Shannon will agree with me when I say this. One of the things that everybody knows is that content is the king, right? So you know, all the rest of the stuff we do, the lights, the good camera, we want to make the experience a good one. But if you don't have anything to say, you know, it really won't matter. Listen, I want to do something special for you guys. I asked a good friend of mine, colleague of mine, mentor of mine to join us and just to say a word of prayer for.
Oh my God!
No, I want him to come in and say a word of prayer. And I know that it's going to be more than just audio engineers, but I want you to take a moment, chat it up. But Pat, I felt the need for prayer. I'm so glad that you're willing to be a used vessel. So
well, here, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So Sheldon is the reason why I'm jacked up right now.
You both know I didn't do that to you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So, once, first of all, I should have been on this. I have a meeting. I'm on another meeting, but I want. You knew I was going to replay this.
Oh yeah.
From day one, because I got Shannon was supposed to be working on my next in Florida that was coming up when we had coming up
beta, yeah.
And Shelton, I think I was 19.
Wow.
When Shelton helped, he had a studio in his room, and I started to build my studio in my room. That's why Shelton had me move down. That's how I learned about the Neve boards, learned about the 2-inch tape. It was because of Sheldon that I went to work at Sound Cell.
Wow.
So it's your fault. My wife's going to kill you.
And then with Wu-Tang and everybody.
I was already in between that time, but at that time, I wasn't actually touching anything. You were putting out their cigarettes and cleaning off their the stuff that was there. You do a lot of cleaning, but you will learn late at night. But Shelton had his studio there at Oakwood. He had was cranking out from right there. And that's when I started building my sequencer studios and all of that down in B11D. He was up in the other suite up there.
That's hilarious.
Hey, I need to say this. I need to interject this. I just got a message from some folks. Because you guys are chatting, I had a chance to check my phone, which is probably a good thing, because it seems to me that there is a need or desire for a masterclass on audio production. And so somebody was asking me, like, would I pose that to Shannon and Shelton? If that's something you guys would be interested to do, I would be willing to work behind the scenes to get it set up. But absolutely, if that's something you guys are willing to do. And again, I want to make sure that we say this at the outset, that if you are interested in masterclass, first of all, if you are interested in something like that, or know others who might be, just go ahead and let us know in the chat right now. But it would be something that would be there would be a cost attached, because we want to make sure that there's some passive income that these gentlemen can get from said class. So, and this is expertise and knowledge that they're sharing with us of their own free will today. But in a masterclass, they would go into a lot more detail.
And, is that a live class, or a live production class, or a studio production class?
We can do either one. We can do either one.
Shannon and I have been kind of talking about doing this for a long time, and he's been pushing me.
We can talk about either one, and So Evan Morcell, who's going to be on the show next week, he messaged me, is like, man, mention this to the two guests, because this could be something that they could actually look into. My thing is, if I can facilitate in any way, shape, form, or fashion, please let me know. And absolutely. So yeah. David Hunt says masterclass. I'm in. A couple of people are commenting there, but I'm just saying I wanted to put it out there publicly while we're still live. But I wanted to share that with you guys. Chew it up a little bit, pray on it, think about what you want to do. It doesn't have to be live. It doesn't have to be but however we.
They're saying both. Everybody's saying both. Okay. Looking at it now, they're saying both.
Studio mixing class, please. Yep.
Because if I go into another church after this is over and hear the junk that I'm hearing,
mercy,
man, mercy. I walk with a mic now. I'm sorry. I was supposed to pray. I'm sorry.
but Pat, though, it's really like the mentor that, and I don't think he would mind us saying, right, Shel? The mentor that Shelton was mentioning is Tony Shepard.
Yeah,
Tony Shepard is like there are production professionals within our sphere that there's no reason why there should be between those that are very good at what they do. There's no reason why you should go into any church and it not sound amazing.
Sure.
Right. But there's some folks that just don't see the importance of production. And but I just want you to think about this. Christ, think about the production at the Sermon on the Mount. Do you know that everybody had to hear Christ?
Yeah,
everybody.
So either they had a PA, which we don't know, right? We have to assume that they didn't, or they had to have an acoustical space that would naturally project his voice, right? Or he did some Jesus stuff and was speaking to everybody in their ears. Right?
In their ears, man, in their own tongue.
Right? In their own tongue. Right? So, but there's had to be some sort of audio process, right? And I think that we forget that the message is what's most important.
Right. Message is what's most important. Yes.
And there's message in song.
Yeah.
There's message in the word, in the preached word. You know, and if you don't hear either of them, that's a problem.
Yep.
And so there should be
problem.
no reason why people should, but herein lies the problem. The problem is that people are not, meaning pastors, leaderships, boards, churches, you know, are not willing to invest in doing it right.
That's right.
Kirk.
Yeah, well,
you right in my lane now.
In doing it, you know those folks doing it right.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm talking about, Kirk?
Yeah.
Folks doing it right. That's sometimes we don't.
Yes.
You have to put that in the private chat for Patrick to understand what we're talking about. I don't want to leave him out. I want to leave him out. Right. Right.
You need to hang out with us on Friday night. Then you'll know.
Well, this is not going to be deleted. So
no, check that private chat, Pat. Okay, doing it right.
So we want us to be able to do it right.
I got it, y'all. I got it now.
And the church needs to drive that. But when you have people right now at Madison Mission, I'm proud to say that the audio engineer position, front of house position, is a paid position. What up, Ro? Is a paid position.
What's up,
and
y'all?
I pushed for that. I was like, there's no way that you're going to pay
a janitor. How you pay your janitor, but not the?
But listen, no. Let's not even take it to the janitor. How you paying the band,
right? And
the person that's responsible for making the band heard, you're not paying them.
Wow.
How is that?
Man, that question has.
Listen. Start another 2 hours of conversation.
I think so. Listen. I want to put this thing to bed. And Roby actually did not join us to go live. He joined us for the after show, right? but no, I'm being honest. He sent me a message like, send me the link. I want to get in the after show. But yeah, Camilla said that's a whole word right there. Yeah. And I think that there's a community. There's a community that understands that space, that understands some of the roles that and functions that we fulfill, and yet there is a lack of appreciation. I think we even started with this, Shelton. There's a lack of appreciation for that. Yep. But Pat, man, before we get into like another 4 or 5 hours, before this becomes a Friday night cafe, go ahead and say a word or two, and then close us out with prayer. I can play my outro, and we can go offline.
No, again, I just think that sound is of the greatest importance. I mean, no matter how you look at it across the board, no pastor, you're never going to, when you look at all the big cathedrals, from the big to the small, I don't care what it is. You put your sound out and your lighting first. It makes the difference. Nobody cares about pews anymore. Everybody cares about how the word comes. And when you have somebody, you ever been to a church where the bass is so heavy that you can't, it literally gives you a headache before you speak. Things are coming, the echo is just reverberating around the room to the point where you can't even think. That's when you fire fire them. You put the pastor's son is probably the one behind the board.
Mercy.
Or something of that nature, where you need to put professionals in its place. We don't just put anybody on the Hammond. We don't just put anybody on the bass.
Right.
Same thing that you got to do with sound, especially in this day and age. And I'm looking at the two characters here that is amazing when it comes to sound engineering, because that's what it is. It's a science. You don't just get up and do it. It's a science. You got to have the ear for this type of stuff. And yes, recording and live. And if you're crazy enough to do it while it's going live, then you've lost your mind, period.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it on the spot. You know, that they're trusting your ears on the millisecond before they even sing or before they even play.
Woo!
So you remember that's where the big trust comes from. And that's where their ministry. That's what it is.
That's it.
And hey, Pat, real quick, that's also where the lack of trust comes from. From musicians to guys calling themselves engineers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I will never.
That relation, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's two different ball games. That's the difference between an evangelist a pastor who preaches on the pulpit and an evangelist that preach in the street. They're two different people. They're not the same thing. It's two different things. So when I get up, the first thing I do when I go to some of these speaking with 2,000, 3,000 people, I go to the sound engineers first. And the first thing I say to them is, I'm going to be moving around. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they take me up to the front and they put crosses. They put little tapes. On the tape on the stage, and they say, don't go here. Move around from here. Move on this side right here. Can I hear you real quick? Okay, you dropped out over here. Don't go over there. They put tape on the ground to tell me where to move and where not to move. Then they start talking to the videographers. I'm sorry, I can't say the word.
Yeah. You gotta have your video crew, right?
If you don't got the sound,
it's dead in the water,
right? So we're talking, these guys are huge. Yeah. Tony Shepard, oh my gosh, we're talking about guys who know their work. Yeah, that's when you sit back and just watch them do it. So it's ministry. How many people have come to the kingdom just because of the sound? You get stars on your crown just because you did it right.
My goodness. Time. My goodness.
And so this is what people don't ever see. They don't see that.
That's gold.
They don't see it. So I want to pray that in this day and age, because now ministry is going to change in the church now.
Yeah, sure.
It used to be pulpit. Now it's the sound engineers. It's those who go over IT. Those are the real pastors now.
And you better get your streaming mixes together. Because your streaming mix, I've heard some streaming mixes that are
garbage. Wow.
Yep. Absolute garbage, not kind of garbage.
They're still trying to mix a stream mix from their front of house console, and it's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Okay. Hey, can you get off the Greek for a second?
Let's go.
Because you just I got it. I hear what you're saying, but don't do that to me right now, because
my goodness.
It's even the sound engineers that they're the only ones that hear that the piano is off.
Yeah.
Be tuned. These are the people who get microphones and say, "Hey, let's discard the Newmans and let's bring on the floor SM7, SM57s or the whatever." Yeah. These are the ones that when it's raining outside, we need these over here. We need, it's the mindset of the individuals.
That's good, Pat.
Do their work. It's ridiculous.
That's good. That's what this space is about, is understanding ministry or business or organizational structure from a different vantage point. And so today we've looked at it from the vantage point of the audio engineer. And I think that you've touched on it.
I'm gonna say one more thing and then I'll pray. It's gonna come a time now that our worship services are gonna come with writers.
Right? Well, we're already there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're there.
We're definitely there.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
We are there.
It's going to get that way. I'm going to tell you, you're going to find some preachers who are going to walk with their gear.
Yeah, they do. They already do.
See, Alvin Chia is not going to walk in anywhere without his voice behind him.
That's right.
It's not going to happen. So you're going to find preachers doing exactly the same thing. They're going to walk with their eventides. They're going to walk with their Alexa, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to walk with their UAs. And these guys know what they're talking about. You'll put me on here, make my threshold this, make my so-and-so that, make my voice sound like Barry White, and we good to go.
We're good to go.
Ain't nobody getting baptized off of Pat Graham sound. Nah, it ain't going to work. Ain't going to work. But
Come on, Pat.
I just want to tell you guys that continue on with ministry. Just remember me in the kingdom. I'm one of them small guys. Remember me in the kingdom? I've always been chasing you guys from day one. So you have your mentors. Anytime you go live, Shelton, I'm there, trying to see what next to do with Pro Tools. Matter of fact, I called you yesterday.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Pro Tools goes away, brother.
I called you because my Pro Tools deactivated.
You know what you need to do?
You need to go to the
Studio One, bro.
You need to go to the event. We're going to do a Studio One evangelistic meeting.
Please don't have this meeting right now.
I'm sorry, I got to co-sign with him. I'm making the move really soon. I have to, because again, like Shelton's been saying in his Facebook Live thing, sonically, Studio One has something right.
Oh boy! We're gonna open this thing up. We are already a full hour over our time. So Pat, come on.
Afterwards.
Pat, pray.
Come on, Pat.
Pat, pray, please.
No, and I'm not going to stay on here afterwards because it was Shelton that made me go ahead and buy that 24 board that's back there.
No, sir. I didn't make it.
Let's pray. Remember, we're praying for the folk.
Yeah.
We're praying for the folk who are not working right now because of the pandemic. Let's pray.
Amen.
And we're praying to close out. And
that's what you wanted me to pray for those who...
Specifically sound engineers.
Yep. I know what you mean.
But yes.
I know
there is a broader group. Yes.
I know what you mean. And to Shelton and Shannon, I'm sorry about that high buzz that you hear in the sound.
Oh, I hear it, brother.
I
wasn't gonna say that, but since you brought it up, I'm like, what is going on with Pat over there? Because I called Pat about all this streaming stuff. I called him like, brother, what should I get? I'm getting this. I'm getting that. And you come on here with some.
All right, Kirk. I'm sorry, Kirk. So what happened?
You poking the bear right now, man.
I moved my equipment on the other side because this preacher said he wanted me to preach from my North Philly pastor, wanted me to preach my whole body. I usually sit here and preach. So I moved my equipment. When I moved it back, I'm getting this sound that's in there. And I can't pay y'all to come in here, okay? I'm not paying y'all to find me.
You got to chase down all your cables. Woo! You have fun.
Welcome.
Can we just pray right now?
Come on, let's pray.
I just apologize for having the squeak sound going. And I know that they're like cringing deep down inside listening to it. That's how these sound engineers are. They're just cringing right now. We're like, yo, Pat, you supposed to be the superstar. Could you get that whack mic out of here?
Fix it.
We'll fix it. Let's pray. God, we thank you so much for this venue, this opportunity for others to learn and appreciate. First of all, we're going to ask you, God, now to open up the windows of heaven for those who had not had the opportunity or those who have been let go because of whatever funding it is. You own a cattle on 1,000 hills.
Yes, God.
Put them back in the church, put them back in the venues, open up the venues again. Clear the way even before the vaccines come out because you're God all by yourself. Put us back to work where they have the opportunity of getting your word through the 10 inches and the 12 inches and the 15 inches and the subs. God, we just ask you that you will be uplifted. Continue to be with Shannon, be with Roby, be with Shelton in a special way, God, as they work the buttons that the Spirit may come through.
Yes,
God. Souls will be saved through the intricacies. And I ask you, God, that when they get stars on their crown, it is because they did it right the first time.
Yes, God.
When you come, we ask you to save us. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I want to say a word of thanks to everyone who stuck around with us for an extended show today. But you could see that there was a lot to share. We're going to definitely revisit this topic and this panel again later on in this season. If not this season, we're definitely going to do it in next season. But man, I cannot thank you enough for coming out, sharing with us again next week. Want to show you we have these two gentlemen, Chris McNish and Evan Morcell, on the channel, on the show, and we're going to be talking about cinematography and videography. So please join us for that. But yes, as we close it out, I'm hoping that somewhere in the show today you were able to peek behind the veil. Some of the pieces of the puzzle started to fit together. You had that aha moment, and you begin to figure out, how it all works. We hope that you had that experience today. We thank you for taking the journey with us. If you haven't subscribed already, we ask that you would do that now. Smash that like button. share this video with somebody you know that missed it but needed to hear something that was shared in it. And share it with them at the timestamp where you know that they need to hear. So maybe they don't want to watch the whole 2 hours, but maybe there's a spot in there that you know they need to hear. Share it with them at that timestamp on YouTube. It's your boy Kirk Nugent, thanking you for joining in with us, and we will see you next week for another episode.
How it all works.
Come on.
How it all